Every year. All right, elsewhere in the news now. New this morning, a Manvel mom reached out to KHOU 11 after she says her cry for help fell on deaf ears.
She says her neighbor has been harassing her and her family for several months, even using racially charged tactics to intimidate them. Ugochi Iloka joining us live now with the story you'll only see on KHOU 11. And Ugochi, this lady doesn't feel safe because of her neighbor.
Sherman and Ron, that's correct. Right now, mom of two, KHOU, come in, says that this neighbor, who she calls a nightmare, has been allegedly harassing her and her family for nearly a year. She says he even hung a noose out in his front yard directly in front of her house, giving her no choice but to speak out at a Manvel City Council meeting earlier this week. Take a listen.
But I have something for your little boy, and pointed in the tree to that noose, talking about the rope. Told your officers. Nothing. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but I'm a mom just trying to do this for my kids.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the frustration in her voice there. KHOU tells me that she has two young black sons and that when this happened, she called Manvel police. She says they initially told her that they couldn't do anything about her neighbor hanging a noose on his property because it's a form of freedom of speech. So we did some digging, and when I called the Manvel police chief, he had a very different tone from what that officer she initially spoke with said. In this statement, he says they are now investigating allegations of racism and racial threats and are taking them seriously. Kat says her neighbor has been doing other things to harass her family, but hanging the noose out front was the final straw.
An initial marker for stuff with African Americans and just feeling that immediate threat with my children. I was like, we can't, there's no standing by. Like, we have to do whatever we have to do. We have to email the politicians. We have to go to city council and speak up.
Yeah, and Kat says this neighbor also has allegedly allowed his dog to run wild without being on a leash, even chasing her son and feeling threatened by that. She also says he shines a stadium light, bright lights on her home almost every night. Coming up in the next hour, we'll explain what she says the city of Manvel is finally doing about this neighbor that she says is causing her and her family so much grief. Reporting live this morning, Ugochi Iloka, KHOU 11 News.